Hello and welcome to another episode of Raw Politics. Today, I want us to discuss the four categories of Kenyans opposed to the presidency of William Ruto and the reasons as to why they want him gone. If that is a subject you are interested in, stay tuned. And if you're watching for the first time, take a moment, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss subsequent videos. In politics, they say no good deed goes unpunished. Meaning, if you do exemplary well, the public may reward you by voting you out, or they reward you by complaining bitterly. I want to give you an example. There is elections in 2016 in the United States. One businessman who's not been political decides to throw himself into the ring. He fights it out at the Republicans' nominations. He wins. He battles it out with Hillary Clinton. He wins against all odds. During his 4-year term, America had one of the best economy. In fact, America was energy independent. That meant that they could supply their energy needs from local production. But what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Those who were opposed to this man winning because the expectation was that he was never to be president. But now that he had been president, these people couldn't believe. So what did they do? Even though he made sure they had one of the best economy, they had good jobs. In fact, there were serious reforms in the prison sector that favored the minorities like blacks. Every day, the American public was told this was the worst person to ever elect. That it was the duty of every American to ensure this mistake is corrected, meaning this person is never elected. That Americans never elect somebody of that caliber. He was painted as a Russian spy. He was painted as the worst racist ever. He was painted as a very mediocre president. And everybody was told that when you get an opportunity to remove this person from office, please do not hesitate. And so come 2020, the man was voted out. The man in question is one Donald Trump. He was never supposed to win according to the establishment. He won and did wonders, and so they couldn't believe that somebody they had underrated was capable of transforming America. And so the powers that be invested in smear campaign. Mainstream media in the US was used to paint this person darkest. A majority were convinced that they had a noble duty of getting rid of Donald Trump. But Donald Trump never gave up. Actually, he contested that election. When Americans were asked in 2024, November, whether they were better under Biden or they were better under Trump, guess how they voted? They overwhelmingly voted to get Donald Trump, the same person they had been told is the worst person possible. Hitler, kind of. The mistake they should regret and never make again. Americans overwhelmingly, both popular and electoral college, both Senate and the House, Americans gave Republicans the mandate. They said we were better under Donald Trump than we are under Biden. Why am I giving you this story? Because it is one thing to run a campaign and make people believe somebody is bad, even when they are doing the right thing. Yes, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it is possible to demean what is good for the general public and make the same general public that is supposed to benefit from it to hate it. Let's come home. William Ruto, of course, just like Trump, won against all odds. The expectation was that before he actually won, he had been painted as the worst politician alive, a thief, a murderer, anything you can come up with. William Ruto was painted as a mistake, a political mistake that no Kenyan was supposed to make. But what did Kenyans do? Kenyans compared the people who were telling them about William Ruto, and they could only see hypocrites. And so they saw through their smear campaign, saw through their lies, and what did they do? Kenyans voted for William Ruto to be president against all odds. But just like Trump, that is why I was giving the story of Trump, immediately William Ruto took over, the people who believed that he doesn't deserve to be president, that he should have not been elected, did not relent. They continued the smear campaign. And this is what is going on. Ruto is being painted as one person who is doing nothing, even though, ladies and gentlemen, if Kenyans were to be honest, and I talk of being just honest, if you are asked, were you better under Uhuru Kenyatta than you are under Ruto, and you are to answer this honestly, you would automatically say, I am doing better under Ruto. But you see, somehow you won't say that. Why? Because there is a smear campaign going on. And in this smear campaign, you are even told that what is working for you is not working for you. For instance, you are buying unga at a cheaper price without subsidies than it was under Uhuru Kenyatta. Under Uhuru Kenyatta, you are buying unga at 230. Under Ruto, you are buying it at below 130. In fact, the only time unga prices have started to go up is because of December holidays, the festivities. Now, and in some cases, Kenya being a free market, you can sell the way you want. But it is not because we don't have enough maize. And if you want proof, go back to the villages and ask, how much is a sack of a 90 kg sack of maize? And you will find it is ranging at 3,000 or even below in some cases. So that tells you in terms of unga, we have sufficient unga. Even our own strategic reserves, we have enough food for Kenyans, should there be calamities. For the first time, we are producing more sugar than we consume. These, ladies and gentlemen, are things that were not happening under Uhuru. They are happening under Ruto because of his policies. But what are you being told? You are being told this is the worst person possible. And there is that possibility of believing a lie even when it is against your own self-interest. For instance, under Uhuru Kenyatta, you have what we call NHIF. In fact, Uhuru Kenyatta tried to roll out universal health care. He took some counties to pilot it. One of the counties was Kisumu. It never took off. It wasn't working. Why? Because Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to run universal health care with NHIF, which was meant for civil servant by civil servants. And let me explain this. Some people find this, say this is not true. Let me tell you, you know of World Bank and IMF. These institutions were created to help rebuild Europe after World War II. It was very specific. Created to help rebuild Europe after World War II. Later, since the name is World Bank and International Monetary Fund, other countries from Asia, Africa, were brought in and South America were brought in. But go and check how it treats countries that are not from Europe. In fact, our president complained openly before them, said that in Europe, you are giving them at 5% of interest. You're giving loan at 5%. But in Africa, you are giving people at exorbitant rates of 18%, knowing very well they can't repay in time, so that they are forever indebted to the IMF. The point is, it was not created with other countries in mind. And when those other countries came, they could not be treated the same way that they were treating Europeans. Back to NHIF. If you were a civil servant and you had an NHIF cover, you could walk to an hospital, ladies and gentlemen. You could walk to any hospital. Outpatient cover would take care of anything. You would go there, be given the best drug, be given the best treatment, and you would leave. But I've also used self-sponsored NHIF, the one where you were paying 500. And I would go to an hospital, and that doctor was very categorical, and he told me, let me just be honest with you. You are my friend. The capitation, what is allocated for you per month is 100 bob. In terms of what we can give you, we may just give you Panadol. The rest are not covered. Any drug, even if you just ask, can I get Zyka? Can I get Brewster? No, you couldn't. You could be given the worst generic possible. Why were you being given that? You were paying 500 shillings, which in some cases was just close to what some civil servants were paying. But these civil servants had comprehensive health care. You didn't have that. You would even go to hospital under NHIF, you would be admitted. But some tests you will have to pay from pocket. Some procedures you will have to pay from pocket. But for civil servants, you would find that somebody is given a cover of 1 million, or even, yes, a cover of 1 million. And with a cover of 1 million, these people, when they are admitted inpatient, they are taken care of well. And you can't blame them. It was started with the notion of how do we cover our civil servants. And so bringing in others was an afterthought. And so those other people were mistreated literally under NHIF. Ruto sits down and says, this is what we have. It is not working for a majority. Civil servants, ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, are not more than 1 million. And you have a country of 54 million. So they are not even a serious percentage to talk about. However, our health cover was specifically focusing on them. There is nothing wrong with that. But then we needed something that, while it covers civil servants better, it also offers the same to ordinary Kenyans or people in the private sector or people in the informal sector. And that is where SHA comes in. It has 3 funds. Primary Healthcare Fund. This covers you, ladies and gentlemen, from level 1 to, actually from home to level 3. Okay? This includes Linda Mama and other things, but in a better way. And guess what? Primary Healthcare Fund, you don't have to contribute a dime to enjoy it. All you have to do is to register on SHA. That's all. And you can go to level 1, level 2, level 3 hospital, get treated and go home. Then you have Social Health Insurance Fund. And it is called social, ladies and gentlemen, because those who are blessed enough to have formal employment are asked, can you give a percentage, that is 2.7% of what you have. We pool with those who don't have whatever it is that they're going to give, so that every one of us has a health care. Nothing wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. We are Africans, and taking care of our brothers and sisters is not something to be frowned upon. That is Social Health Insurance Fund. It takes care of you from level 4 to level 6. Meaning, if my challenges are not warranting level If my challenges don't warrant the attention of a level 4 hospital, then I'm still covered with primary health care fund. For free, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have to contribute a dime. But if I was supposed to go to a level 4, then I would be using SHIF, Social Health Insurance Fund. And this Social Health Insurance Fund, ladies and gentlemen, even those who are not employed, there is a mean testing. After you answer a few questions, it will tell you how much you're supposed to pay. Unless you are an orphan, or you are registered as person with disability, or you are aged, maybe 70 and above. Those ones are special category. And those who don't have any source, the government then chips in and pays for you. But other Kenyans will pay as low as 300 shillings. Others also, like when I did my mean testing, they said I should pay 3,500 per month. Of course, I will dispute that, because it was assuming that I'm very stable, which I am not. But I digress. What I was saying is, if you look at how SHA is organized and how it is programmed, and the people who are saying they are benefiting, I have people who can tell you that I went for this surgery, which I could have not have afforded under NHIF. But somebody, ladies and gentlemen, will tell you that even the emergency and critical fund, which is free also, should you have an emergency, or should you be dealing with a critical disease like cancer, liver problem, these other chronic diseases, diabetes, etc., this particular fund takes care of you for free. And you don't even have to be registered by SHA to enjoy the emergency care. Somebody will tell you that that is the worst thing that has ever happened to this country. And you know what? You will believe them against your own interest. Why? Because it is being pushed by people you believe, people you trust, people who you think they don't have any reason to lie. I want to tell you they have a reason to lie. That is why I want to tell you 4 categories of people who believe Ruto should not be re-elected. And I want to give you their reasons. But even before we jump into that, let me just add this part. Under Uhuru, higher education funding was so rigged against the poor. Let me explain before you walk out in protest. If I go to a good academy and then I find myself in a national school, what do you think are my chances of going to the university? 90%. Why? 90% of students in national schools go to the university. So what would parents with money do? They would make sure that their kids end up in national schools. And how do you do that? You take your kids to premium academies where they will get the best attention, the best education that money can offer, which will lead them to a national school because they would have scored well, and that guarantees them to go to the university. This is a parent who can pay even 300,000 at Kabarak, but so that this kid can go to the university. There is also a kid going to a very funny school, a school that if they produce one person to go to the national school, it is history. And then this person goes to another secondary school that the last time they produced a candidate who could join university was maybe 5 years ago. So you see, first of all, it is rigged. This person, through the difficulties, also succeeds and qualifies for university. Guess what? That person who went to Premium Academy, went to secondary schools, national secondary schools, and found himself in the university because they scored they scored better, is being taken care of by the government under sponsorship, under scholarship. That person will enjoy government scholarship the same way this poor person will enjoy government scholarship. If you are asked who needs that government scholarship the most, in my opinion, it is this poor person who struggled. That is the person the government should spend money to educate. But that is not how the system was under Uhuru. It was, I rig it from the beginning. I make sure my kid is in national school, which makes sure that they can land in university. Then at the university, the government takes over and educates my kid for me. But there is also the child of a poor person there, who is also being treated as if we are equal. Guess what? Ruto says that system can't work for long, because education is supposed to be the equalizer. And from the look of things, education is not going to be an equalizer, because it has been rigged from the beginning. So what does he do? William Ruto comes up with a new model of funding. In this model, he says government will still offer loans and scholarship. However, to actually everyone who goes to the university. However, this is how it will be done. It will be done based on your needs. So if you come from a very poor family, the scholarship will be higher than that person who comes from a stable family that can afford to pay school fee. They will still get loans, okay? But the scholarship will be lower. The scholarship is like the grant, the one you don't pay. But the loan is something you will refund. People who come from absolute poor families will only get maybe a loan of 5%. So this is something that is bringing equity in education sector. But somebody who is as educated or even more educated than you are would come to you and tell you this is the worst thing that has ever happened. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you to join me in opposing this. And you would. Why not? Because you don't see anything good. You don't believe anything good can come from Ruto. You have been from the beginning told that this is the worst person that ever existed. And so, because he's the worst person, you can't believe that he's doing something good. So that anything good that he does, you must have a question. You must have like, what is really going on? Ruto can't do good. Anyway, to the four groups. The first group of people who are vehemently opposed to William Ruto are those who believed that he should never be president. Those who felt, those who campaigned vehemently against him, the powers that be, people in the media, businessmen, powerful families that were like, this is not going to happen under our watch. This is not somebody who can win. Like it was with Trump. People who said in 2016 that Trump can never be president. I believe you've watched those videos. They have a clip where everyone who had said Trump will never be president, beginning with Obama. These are people who said William Ruto cannot be president under the sun. There is nothing. It will never happen. And now it has happened. And so they are going to do everything, ladies and gentlemen, possible to paint him dark, paint him as the worst person possible. Why? They are doing this for personal ego. Their ego was bruised when William Ruto took over. And that is something they cannot accept. They cannot agree. They can't believe that after doing everything they did, after maligning this man, after painting him dark, after telling Kenyans that it is the worst person to elect, Kenyans still went ahead and voted for this guy. So these people are so sad that there is nothing they are going to stop at to sell an agenda that Ruto is a failure. Just the way they did for Donald Trump in the US after the 2016 election. Immediately was, even before he was sworn in, they were talking of how to impeach him. I am not kidding you. Even before he was sworn in, they were talking of how to impeach him. And they tried to impeach him twice. In fact, the House impeached him twice under the Democrats. And so William Ruto finds himself in the same situation where people who believed that there is no way somebody like William Ruto can defeat us, our might, he's one. We are going to fight him with whatever we have. And so expect those people to fight William Ruto tooth and nail. That is the people who opposed his election, the people who believed he was the worst person to take over. They are still opposing him to date. The powers that be, I'm not talking of people whose tribal leaders told oppose this or it is. No, I'm talking of the powers that be. Businessmen, media moguls, and other people with vested interest who are seeing that what they had predicted never to happen, happened. And just to prove a point, just for the sake of their ego, they want to run narratives that Ruto is the worst, so that it aligns with what they told the voters, so that they are proven right. It's just a matter of ego. We told you he is the worst person possible, and now you see how he's leading the country. So they are running very crooked narrative. I told you, unga is cheaper, but they're telling you are living in a very bad situation. Houses are being built and 120,000 jobs have been created just through that. And people are moving literally into these affordable houses. But somebody is telling you this is the worst theft that they have ever seen. Somebody is using your money, maybe to, I don't know, put it where. And you are going to believe this because they are running this narrative consistently. It is a lie, but it is being run just to massage overgrown egos. Okay? Just to massage bloated egos of the powers that be that do not want to see, can't believe that somebody they said will never be president became president. The same thing like Obama did. They did everything possible to paint Donald Trump darker. That is one group. There's a group too, which is very recent, extremely recent. These are now what we call the supporters of Rigathi Gachagua. Or just what I would call bluntly, because this is raw politics, what I would just call the entitled tribalists. People who believed that because they voted for William Ruto and they contributed a considerable percentage, they should not be asked questions. And their son, according to them, was supposed to be treated like a little king. That anything he wants, he gets. And if you say no to him, you are like you've sat on a porcupine. The consequences. And so when these people with this entitlement, people who believed there is nothing that can happen to them because they are the contributors of this particular victory, when their son Rigathi started now to sabotage or blackmail the president with, I will go with Mount Kenya. Without Mount Kenya, you are a nobody. And the president said, okay, fine. If your goal is to solidify Mount Kenya, use them as a bargaining tool in 2027, then you need ample time. I need somebody who is going to help me to deliver the plan. Once this person was removed, the tribalists came and joined forces. And now they want Ruto gone. More than even those I have mentioned in number one. The powers that be that were opposed to William Ruto. The establishment. These new ones are driven by tribal hate. It is about ethnic supremacy. We want to prove to you that without us, you can never make it. We want to send you home because we believe we are the people who created you. And for that reason, they are going to oppose every policy of William Ruto, even the ones that they were selling just recently. Because you see these people who are in category 2, these tribalists, the ones who are opposing Ruto because their son has been impeached, these ones were just recently telling people how SHA is okay. They are the people who are defending universal healthcare. They are the people who are talking about how unga is cheaper. These people were telling Kenyans to be patient and give Ruto a chance to deliver on his mandate. But now, because their son has been impeached against their expectation, because remember, their belief was that their son is untouchable, considering the votes that they hold, the vote that they brought, they are supposed to be invincible, untouchable. Whether they do what you are supposed to say, yes, sir. In fact, Ruto was supposed to kneel before their son. Now that it didn't work how according to their expectation, guess what? They are now the bitterest opponents of every policy by William Ruto. Even things that they know work, they are opposed to SHA now. They are opposed to everything that Ruto is pushing. And these ones, because they are being moved by ethnic bitterness, that is a very strong emotion, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing you can do to convince these people. These are people who are out to prove a point. It is petty, it is childish, it is backward, but they are persuaded they are very right. And anybody who is not seeing things the way they are seeing it is extremely wrong. And actually, anybody who is trying to say that this is just petty tribal politics will meet them halfway. They will be on your neck. The bitterness is high. And these are people who are out to make sure William Ruto fails. And they'll do anything, even if it means supporting the lies that are being regurgitated by our media, they will echo it. Anybody today, if you want to be popular, even on YouTube, even on social media, just start criticizing Ruto. And that is why majority of YouTube commentators you can watch. Even the ones who were supporting William Ruto and explaining his policies, they have switched. They are now, everything is wrong against Ruto, because that way you get a lot of views, you get a lot of support, because these people also happen to be powerful and moneyed, and you will get support. And some people, for them, that really matters. So even on social media, be it X, be it Facebook, you'll find people changing, even celebrities starting to call Ruto names, just so that you have a following and you maintain some celebrity status. But this is raw politics, so we tell you the truth here. If you don't like it, it's fine. But we have to share it with you nonetheless. I'm telling you, this group 2 is lethal, because it is moved by pure ethnic bigotry, nothing else. They want to prove to Ruto that they control this country and Ruto cannot go against them and survive. Actually, in my opinion, they are the people who will be the saddest when Ruto is re-elected. If Ruto gets re-elected, these will be the saddest human beings you can meet. I don't know what they will do after that. They can decide to be rowdy, and it is a dangerous course for them. If they win, fine. If they don't, they will be very sad. The third group, ladies and gentlemen, are those who hate Raila Odinga. And they are punishing Ruto because of his association with Raila Odinga. So this is, Ruto is being opposed and is suffering because these people do not like Raila Odinga. And let me tell you, the people who hate Raila Odinga are not necessarily people who have not voted for him. There is a clique that voted for Raila Odinga but don't like his association with Ruto. And for that reason, they are opposing Raila and extending that to opposing Ruto. And there are people who voted for Ruto and do not like Raila at all. So associating with Raila makes Ruto their enemy. And this, in my opinion, is the funniest group, because the reasons they will give you for opposing Ruto are some of the most mediocre reasons you can come across. But they are so convinced, because for them it is that hatred. I didn't want Raila Odinga to feature anywhere, but I'm seeing Ruto bringing him on board, so I'm opposing Ruto. Or I didn't want to see my beloved Raila Odinga associating with Ruto in any way, and there he is, he's associating with Ruto, and so for that reason I'm opposed to Ruto. These ones are also out there. They may not be many, but that clique, some of them are very influential on social media, so they will make the loudest noise. And they are the ones calling Raila conman and Ruto Twakutenga, etc. They are trying to convince the young people, especially the Gen Zs and people in the university, to really hate the president, trying their level best to have influence among young Kenyans. The last group that is fighting everything that Ruto is doing are the political opportunists. And let me explain who these people are. So this category is mostly made of opportunist politicians. And some of them are in Central, so they're like majority of voters in Central are not happy with Ruto for impeaching their son, though I believe their son impeached himself through unnecessary hubris and arrogance. But they believe so. And so they are like taking this opportunity. They have nothing against Ruto per se. There could be people who have been very close to the president, but now they are changing. And they're saying, we don't like him, and they're opposing his policies. Why? Because they believe this will get them re-elected if they are with the people, if they stand with the people. Some of these people are also in Luo Nyanza, the ones who are not very happy with the association of Raila Odinga and Ruto, but with a twist, not like the group we discussed earlier, with a twist. Here is the twist. For them, they're like, if Ruto is powerful enough and is enjoying the support of maybe Luo Nyanza, then they have nothing to hang on to get re-elected, because they need something to tell the people that they are going to fight at the top. Maybe we are going to deal with that Ruto at the top. So these are just political opportunists who are looking at, do we have some Luos who are having reservations against Ruto, and so they want to side with them, purpose may be with the hope that they will get re-elected through that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 4 groups that are opposed to William Ruto. Just as a reminder, we have the establishment, people who are persuaded Kenya belongs to them and they are the ones who are supposed to decide who becomes president. And Ruto became president against their wish. Expect them to fight Ruto in ways you've never seen. That the same thing that happened to Donald Trump. My hope is that they don't succeed to actually make him a one-term. But number 2 are the tribalists, the people who believe that because they contributed significant votes, Ruto is supposed to be kneeling and worshiping them. And because Ruto has proven that he's not going to kneel down and worship them, they are saying we are going to prove to you that we made you and we can destroy you. So these are just tribalists who are out there to make sure that they punish Ruto for not towing the line. Then you have a category of those who just hate Raila Odinga. They hate Raila Odinga, and if Ruto is associating with him, then they hate Ruto for that reason. So they join them and they usually call them, they usually brand them as conmen, etc. and other names. And they are trying to get the young people to believe in that. They are the ones running around with the so-called Gen Zs, etc. And then you have the last category, political opportunists, both in Mount Kenya and Nyanza, who are persuaded that if the people don't like Ruto, they are supposed to side with the people for purposes of getting re-elected. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, let me know in the comment section. And if you have a different opinion, also share in the comment section. I'll engage you. Otherwise, allow me to thank you for taking your time to watch. Don't forget to like this video. And if you've not subscribed, please take a moment, subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, let us meet in the next video.